In late June 2025, Mali's military outposts, which serve as crucial hubs for security operations in Boni, Diora, and Lere, strategically positioned towns within the volatile Sahel region, were hit by a wave of coordinated, meticulously planned attacks, showcasing a disturbing level of sophistication. Militants initiated their assault with devastating car bombs and deployed swarms of highly mobile fighters on motorcycles and pickups, a signature tactic in the Sahel. This overwhelming force quickly shattered defenses, exposing vulnerabilities in the army's perimeter. The attackers were also able to target communications infrastructure, effectively crippling the army's ability to coordinate a rapid and effective response. The simultaneous assaults stretched the Malian army thin, forcing commanders to make difficult choices about resource allocation. This multi-pronged strategy forced them to fight on multiple fronts, further weakening their overall defensive posture. Bases were left in ruins, a testament to the intensity and destructive power of the attacks. Dozens of soldiers were killed or captured, representing a significant loss of trained personnel. Adding insult to injury, significant military hardware was seized by the attackers, potentially bolstering their future capabilities. This loss of equipment and personnel is a major blow, hindering the army's ability to effectively combat the insurgency. The attacks have severely impacted the army's morale and overall operational capacity, creating a climate of uncertainty. The attacks show that despite years of military efforts and international assistance, armed groups can still strike deep inside government-held territory, challenging the narrative of progress. For civilians already living in precarious conditions, these events deepen fear and anxiety. The attacks erode trust in the state's ability to provide basic security and maintain order, further destabilizing the region. The violence is a stark reminder of Mali's persistent and escalating insecurity, a crisis with far-reaching consequences for the entire Sahel region. Jama'at Nusrat al-Islam wal Muslimin, often abbreviated as JNIM, is a name that echoes with increasing frequency across the Sahel region. This group's emergence has significantly altered the security landscape. JNIM quickly claimed responsibility for the attacks, demonstrating its operational reach and willingness to assert its presence through violence. These claims often come swiftly after attacks, highlighting their media strategy. Formed in 2017 as an official al-Qaeda affiliate, JNIM represents a formal expansion of al-Qaeda's influence into the heart of the Sahel. This affiliation provides them with resources and ideological backing. JNIM unites several local jihadist factions previously operating independently under one unified command structure. This consolidation of power has made them a more effective and coordinated fighting force. This unification is what makes it a formidable force in the Sahel, capable of challenging state authority and destabilizing entire regions. Their presence casts a long shadow over the area, led by the experienced and influential Iyad Ag Ghali, a veteran jihadist leader with deep roots in the region. His leadership is a key factor in JNIM's success. JNIM skillfully bridges ethnic divides, appealing to various communities and embedding itself within local populations. This integration makes it difficult for outside forces to effectively combat them. They achieve this by exploiting existing grievances, capitalizing on the failures of governance, and presenting itself as an alternative to the absent or ineffective state. They offer a twisted form of stability. Their ultimate goal is to expel Western influence from the region and replace existing secular governments with a strict interpretation of Sharia law. This vision fuels their actions and propaganda. JNM's local roots and deep integration with communities are a significant challenge, making them exceptionally hard to dislodge through conventional military means. Local support provides them with crucial intelligence and safe harbor. Their formal al-Qaeda connection significantly boosts their recruitment efforts and amplifies their propaganda reach, attracting fighters and resources from across the globe. This connection places their local struggle within a broader global jihadist context, framing their actions as part of a worldwide movement. This resonates with potential recruits and donors. Despite years of sustained counter-terrorism operations conducted by both regional and international forces, JNIM has proven remarkably resilient, adapting to pressure and maintaining its operational capabilities. They remain capable of launching large-scale attacks against both military and civilian targets, demonstrating their continued capacity to inflict significant damage and sow fear. Their influence and military strength are still dangerously potent in the Sahel, posing a persistent and evolving threat to regional stability and international security efforts. The roots of Mali's ongoing crisis can be traced back to 2012, a pivotal year that marked a significant turning point for the nation. This period witnessed the convergence of various destabilizing factors, setting the stage for a prolonged and complex conflict. It began with a Tuareg rebellion in the north, initially driven by aspirations for greater autonomy. However, this movement was soon hijacked and overtaken by various jihadist groups exploiting the chaos and instability. These groups were armed with a significant influx of weapons originating from Libya, following the collapse of the Gaddafi regime. This weaponry dramatically enhanced their capabilities and fueled the escalating conflict. In response to the escalating crisis, French intervention under Operation Serval successfully pushed militants out of major cities and urban centers. This intervention provided a temporary reprieve. However, the militants proved resilient, regrouping in the vast and sparsely populated rural areas. From these remote havens, they launched a long-term insurgency, continuing to destabilize the region. Over time, the conflict gradually spread southward, engulfing central Mali and exacerbating existing tensions. This expansion was further fueled by deep-seated ethnic tensions between various communities, creating a complex web of grievances and rivalries. A critical factor contributing to the ongoing instability is the state's persistent inability to provide basic security or essential services to its citizens, particularly in the affected regions. Rampant corruption and weak governance structures have left many communities feeling marginalized and abandoned by the central government, fostering resentment and distrust. This sense of abandonment makes them particularly vulnerable to the influence of jihadist groups, who actively recruit disillusioned youth by offering a sense of purpose and belonging. To sustain their operations, armed groups resort to various illicit activities, including smuggling goods across borders, engaging in illegal gold mining, and imposing taxes on local populations. These activities contribute to a thriving war economy where the conflict itself becomes a source of profit for various actors, further perpetuating the cycle of violence. In the absence of effective state authority, militants often step in to fill the void, offering their own harsh and often brutal version of order and justice through parallel governance structures. The pervasive violence and chronic instability create a vicious cycle where each feeds upon the other, making it increasingly difficult to break free from the conflict. Numerous attempts at peace talks and negotiations have so far failed to yield a lasting solution, making the prospect of a peaceful resolution seem increasingly elusive. Consequently, the conflict has transformed into a self-perpetuating cycle, seemingly without end, as the underlying drivers remain unaddressed. The roots of this cycle are deeply embedded in Mali's fractured society, characterized by deep divisions and a breakdown of social cohesion. In September 2023, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger formed the Alliance of Sahel States, AES, pledging mutual defense against insurgents and external threats. The alliance marks a shift away from Western partners, especially France, as juntas seek local solutions to the jihadist threat. AES leaders hope joint military operations will counter groups like JNIM, but recent attacks raise doubts about their effectiveness. Militants are testing the alliance's resolve, signaling they remain a dominant force. While closer cooperation could help, the armies are stretched thin and face deep governance challenges. Without addressing root causes, military efforts alone may only shift the violence, not end it. After the attacks, both the Malian army and JNIM released statements, each claiming victory. The army emphasized its soldiers' bravery and downplayed losses, aiming to reassure the public and maintain legitimacy. JNIM, meanwhile, boasted of high casualties, inflicted and showcased captured equipment in propaganda videos. Both sides use information as a weapon, shaping perceptions, recruiting supporters, and undermining their opponents. For civilians, the truth is often lost in this battle of narratives. Propaganda fuels confusion and fear, making it hard to know who controls what. In the fog of war, facts are buried beneath competing claims and psychological warfare. The Sahel conflict has devastated civilians for over a decade. Thousands have been killed, villages destroyed, and millions displaced, forced to flee with almost nothing. Humanitarian needs are overwhelming. Food, water, shelter, and healthcare are scarce, especially in displacement camps. Schools and clinics have closed, leaving a generation without education or medical care and vulnerable to recruitment by armed groups. The absence of the state breeds lawlessness and despair. Trauma and fear are constant, with deep psychological scars left on communities. Trust between neighbors has eroded, making peace and recovery even harder. The true cost is measured not just in numbers, but in the shattered lives and hopes of millions. The future for Mali and the Sahel remains deeply uncertain. JNIM's recent attacks show the insurgency is far from defeated, despite new security alliances and military juntas. The alliance of Sahel states could improve coordination, but without addressing poverty, poor governance, and community tensions, military gains may not last. The withdrawal of Western forces has opened the door to new actors like Russia, but their impact is unclear. Turning away from traditional partners risks further isolation and reduced aid. Real peace will require more than military victories. It demands good governance, dialogue, and rebuilding trust. The fight for the Sahel's future is ongoing, with stability for millions still hanging in the balance.